Hello students, welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. In today's video, we are going to discuss about a recent initiative that has been announced in the Conference of Parties meeting going on in the Sharm el-Sheikh region of Egypt, that is COP27 meeting, where the UAE along with India and some other member countries have announced that they will become a partner in Mangrove Alliance for the climate. So in this particular video, we are going to discuss in details what is this alliance all about, what is mangrove forest or mangrove vegetation in general, and what is the significance of this mangrove vegetation for the climate change as well as from the biodiversity perspective, and what are the threats that these particular ecosystem are facing in today's modern world. So first of all, the introductory part, if we try to understand the context in which we are discussing today's issue, is because the 27th session of Conference of Parties meeting, also known as COP27, under the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, has been going on for past few days in the Sharm el-Sheikh region of Egypt. And it is here the Mangrove Alliance for Climate has been launched with India as one of the partners. The move has come in the context of India's goal to increase its carbon sink, and New Delhi will try to collaborate with other member countries such as Sri Lanka, Indonesia, mainly to preserve and restore the mangrove forest in the Southeast Asian region. And India's place in this kind of initiative becomes very important because it is home to one of the largest remaining areas of mangrove, as we know, in the Sundarban Delta, that is shared by both India as well as Bangladesh. And also India has years of expertise in the restoration of mangrove cover that can be used to aid global measure in that direction. So this is the statement that has been given by the Bhupender Yadav, who is the Union Minister for Environment, Forest as well as Climate Change. So first of all, let us try to understand that what is the geographical location where the COP27 meeting is going on. So as you can see on the given map, the Sharm el-Sheikh is a kind of resort town situated in the Red Sea region of West Asia. And if you look closely, this is a landmass, or we can say this is the southernmost tip of the landmass that is also known by the name of Sinai Peninsula. Sinai Peninsula keeps coming in news and also has a historical importance because for a very long period of time, this was an area of dispute between Egypt on the one hand and Israel on the other hand. So basically, Sharm el-Sheikh is extending in the Red Sea region. On the one side, or we can say on the left hand side of Sharm el-Sheikh, we have Gulf of Suez, and on the right hand side of Sharm el-Sheikh, we have another important gulf that is called as Gulf of Aden. And this is exactly the location of Sharm el-Sheikh. The major objective or the aim with which COP27 meeting has been going on with multiple stakeholders, with multiple countries and organizations participating in this event is mainly to take action toward achieving a common goal, a common climate goal that the world has envisioned when the COP15 summit happened in the Paris, that lead to declaration of Paris Agreement and signing of the Paris Agreement. So mainly whatever has been agreed under Paris Summit, all the countries are gradually trying to achieve this. Now let us come back to our main topic, that is we have to discuss slightly what is Mangrove Alliance for Climate. So this is as an initiative that has been led by the UAE, United Arab Emirates, and Indonesia, and now along with these two countries, countries such as India, Sri Lanka, Australia, Japan, and Spain have also joined it as an alliance partner. The main objective or goal of this particular alliance is to educate and spread awareness, not at a regional level, not at a national level, but at a worldwide level on the role of mangroves, what are the major roles that mangrove plays, and also how it can help in curbing of global warming. That is one of the major objective or aim of Paris Agreement, that global warming has to be it has to be ensured that the global temperature rise does not happen by more than 1.5 degrees Celsius by the end, by the beginning of the next century, that is 2100. So the role of mangroves in curbing global warming, how it can play a very important role, as well as the potential of mangroves as a solution for climate change is also something that has to be people have to be made aware about, and the preservation and conservation will go a long way if it comes from the awareness. Also, this initiative is believed to go a long way as far as the driving of collective climate actions are concerned, and also as far as the rehabilitation of the blue carbon ecosystem is concerned. Now, blue carbon ecosystem refers to the carbon that is captured and stored in the marine and the coastal environment. So we have two types of carbon, basically green carbon and blue carbon. Green carbon is the carbon that is captured and stored by the terrestrial plants and trees, while the blue carbon is the carbon that is captured and stored by the marine ecosystem or the coastal ecosystem. So how will this MAC work? So as far as MAC is concerned, it is an alliance of several countries. However, we have to keep in mind that this alliance has formed on a voluntary basis. That means there are no real checks and balances to hold members accountable if some member does not take a step or does not take a right step in fulfillment of the goal as enshrined in the MSC. Second, all member countries are free as their voluntary agreement to make own commitments and deadlines as far as the planning and the restoring of mangroves in their national areas or national territory is concerned. And third, major we can say benefit that such alliance can provide is that there can be sharing of expertise and support or between different member countries in areas such as research, management, as well as protection of the coastal areas and the coastal ecosystem. So now let us try to understand the basics of environment and biodiversity and try to understand what basically or what actually is a mangrove vegetation. So if we try to define in a very simple term, a mangrove can be defined as a small tree or plants or shrub that grows along coastlines, taking root in the salty sediments, often underwater. So that is why marine mangrove ecosystem is a very unique ecosystem, because in the coastal areas, many places where the river is discharging fresh water in the sea, and at the same time the sea has a salty water or saline water, and that is why mangroves grow in the area where we have mixture of both salty and fresh water, and that is why it is a very unique kind of ecosystem. Now, obviously, since the root of the mangrove trees, as you can see from this picture here, for most part time are submerged below the water. That is why the mangrove plants face a problem of oxygen deficiency. That means they cannot take high amount of oxygen from the soil as they are submerged underwater. And that is why, as an adaptation mechanism, mangrove plants develop a special kind of fruits that is called as nematophores. Nematophores are kind of fruits that grows in the upward direction. Then finally, it reaches above the surface of water and then directly absorbs oxygen from the atmosphere. Third characteristics of mangrove vegetation is that it has very succulent leaves. Now, succulent leaves is something that is also we see in the xerophytic vegetation. That means vegetation that we find in dry areas or in the desert areas where the conservation of water becomes very, very essential. And that is why we have the succulent leaves that do not allow easy transpiration of the water from the plant leaves. So, same adaptation we also see in the case of mangroves. And last is the fruits of mangroves shows something that is referred as viviparity. Viviparity refers to the characteristic of fruit where the roots start to develop when the fruit is attached to the branch itself. And once the fruit ripens, the root already has developed in an elongated manner, and thus when the fruit falls down, the root directly goes inside the soil and attaches the plant with the soil layer, and that is why it cannot be moved away by the tidal movement, and thus it is an adaptive mechanism developed by plant to survive and grow. Now, as far as the distribution of mangroves are concerned, the India's position is such that it has 3% of South Asia's mangrove population. And if we talk about within India, the total area covered under mangrove vegetation accounts for somewhere about 4,975 square kilometers. That is roughly 0.15% of country's total geographical area. The major areas where we can see the mangrove vegetation that has developed is obviously the largest and the densest mangrove vegetation is we have West Bengal, that also in the terms of area has the largest mangrove population of the India. Apart from that, the second largest mangrove population you will find along the coast of Gujarat on the western coast of India. Then apart from that, in the states such as Odisha, Andhra Pradesh, and Tamil Nadu, and to some extent in Maharashtra, also we have the good number of mangrove vegetation or good density of mangrove population. So that is the overall distribution as far as mangrove is concerned. However, when we can be proud of India having one of the largest share of mangrove population or mangrove vegetation in the world, we have to understand that in the last decade, that is between year 2010 to 2020, almost 600 square kilometer of mangroves had been lost. And it is believed that out of these losses, more than 62% of mangrove losses was direct due to the direct human impact or direct human intervention. This data we have received from the Global Mangrove Alliance, which is again a very important or main organization, international organization or intergovernmental organization that is working in the area of protection and preservation of the mangroves. So why we are so much concerned about the mangroves? What are the significance of mangrove vegetation? Let us try to understand one by one. So the first major significance that mangrove provide with us is it plays a role of ecological stabilization. For example, mangrove and the root of mangrove plants and vegetation, they help a great deal in the formation of the soil as well as maintenance of the soil in the coastal area. The second major role it plays is in the purification of water, which is very, very important for the coral reef structure. Let us try to understand how it happens. So, for example, when the water or river water is being discharged into the sea, the roots of mangrove plants basically absorb the nutrient from this water, or also not only even the river water, but also if large amount of discharge or runoff that is coming from land to the sea has a lot of pollutants and nutrients, and these nutrients are absorbed by the mangrove roots, and thus it does not go further in the seawater where it can cause harmful algal blooms. And if harmful algal blooms happen, obviously this will lead to less sunlight available for the coral reefs and can cause destruction or coral bleaching as well. And this is very, very important because, as you know, coral reef is one of the most diverse or biodiverse ecosystem in the marine areas that support more than 80% of the marine life. So this is the second important significance of the mangrove. Third, as we discussed, that mangroves, since they are the coastal plants, coastal vegetation, marine vegetation, they store blue carbon, and it is believed that though they occupy just 2% of the areas, they store almost 12 to 15% of the blue carbon. At the same time, the rate at which the carbon or blue carbon is stored by mangrove vegetation is 400% times higher as compared to the terrestrial plant and vegetation. That makes mangrove very, very important if we talk about the global one. Fourth, since mangrove is a very diverse and a very unique kind of ecosystem, it support huge biodiversity ranging from the small plants, the small insects to larger big or big birds, as well as several animals. For example, in Sundarban Delta, you can even find Royal Bengal tiger. And as far as fishes are concerned, it is believed that 80% of global fish population directly or indirectly is we can say benefited or dependent on the mangrove ecosystem. Not only that, even from disaster management perspective, mangrove vegetation help us against strong tsunami waves or a strong tidal current, as well as even in the case of tropical cyclone, the mangrove vegetation act as a natural barrier and thus minimizes the damage that could have been inflicted in the coastal areas, in the populated areas of the coastal regions due to these kind of disasters. So that is why we can understand mangrove has a huge significance or great significance from all different perspectives. Now, the next topic we have to understand about is what are the current or present threats that mangrove vegetation is facing not only in the India but even at the global level. So, the first major threat that comes is due to the commercialization of the coastal areas. As we have discussed, mangrove vegetation develop and grow in the coastal areas. So, any kind of commercial activity that is taking place, for example, industrialization, urbanization, or even some kind of economic activities such as fish farming, pearl cultivation, all these negatively impact the mangrove vegetation and causes destruction of this vegetation. Second, mangroves are very sensitive to the temperature changes. So, due to the global warming, due to change in the coastal temperature, due to the development of industries and discharge of the polluted hot water from the industries, they can also cause damage to the mangroves. And it is believed that if there is significant changes or sudden changes of 5 to 8 degrees Celsius in the coastal areas, temperature of the water will change by 5 to 8 degrees. That will have a very significant adverse effect on the mangrove vegetations. Third is also there are certain soil related issues because a lot of pollutants are being discharged continuously through the deltaic regions, the coastal areas, and then they keep on accumulating in the soil. And when there is large amount of soil pollution, mangrove plant vegetation will find it very difficult to grow and survive. Fourth, and that is the major threat, is excessive human intervention that is being done in the mangrove areas, because many times we also have deforestation that is being done in the mangrove areas. In the Sundarban region, you have the Sundari tree that is example of mangrove vegetation, but that tree is mercilessly being cut down for the manufacturing of the boats or to be used as a fuel wood, or even for the using the material or the wood for the construction of the houses by the fishing population. So these are some of the intervention, human intervention. Apart from that, obviously pollution. Many times we have oil leaks or oil spill happen due to the tanker that collides or due to some accidents in the coastal areas or in the oceanic areas that also negatively impact the mangrove vegetation. And last and the most important is also as the demand of shrimp is growing especially across the western countries, there are a large number of shrimp farms that has started to develop in the coastal areas of many countries such as Japan, Australia, UK, US, and even Canada. And it is believed that at least 35% of the global losses that is happening in last 2-3 years in the mangrove vegetation comes due to the direct or indirect, comes as a result of direct or indirect effect of the growth and development of shrimp farms. So these are the major threats that today's our mangrove ecosystem is facing. However, there has been several attempts that has been made in the past as well, apart from this Mangrove Alliance for Climate Change that has been developed, come into picture right now. So one major organization that is working in the area of mangrove conservation is something that is called as International Society for Mangrove Ecosystem. The main objective of this particular organization is to promote the study of mangroves with the purpose of enhancing their conservation. Similarly, we have other organization that is Blue Carbon Initiative. As we discussed already, what is a blue carbon? So the major effort that this organization put toward is in mitigating the climate change through the conservation and restoration of the coastal and marine ecosystem, including mangroves, obviously. And the last organization that is very, very important is Mangroves for the Future Initiative. This organization is a collaborative effort of two major environmental organizations. One is IUCN, that is International Union for Conservation of Nature, and other is UNDP, that is United Nations Development Program. So as a collaborative or joint effort of these two organizations, Mangrove for Future Initiative have come into existence. And this is a very unique initiative to promote investment in the coastal ecosystem and conservation. Not only that, even at the level of even at the national level by the government of India, the government of India in year 1976 has established a national mangrove committee, and this is the major committee that advises the government of India about the conservation and the development of mangroves. So these are, apart from MAC, some new initiative, some old initiative that is already has been going on toward conservation of mangrove. So that is all for this particular video. I hope you understood about what is the MAC, that is the Mangrove Alliance for Climate, and what are the major objective or the area in which it will work. Apart from that, we also have discussed different nitty-gritties of the mangrove. So if you like the video, please hit the like button, share it with your fellow aspirants, as well as subscribe to our channel for more helpful content. Thank you very much.